There was one guy who would always order a specific thing that wasn't on the fucking menu.
Yeah,
Don't order shit that's not on the fucking menu.
That's so real.
You don't want something that's on the menu. You want something that's not on the menu. Go home and make it. Like,
Thank you.
Don't. Hello,
And welcome back to
Dysfunctional Duo,
starring me.
and I. How are you?
I'm okay. As I was driving to your house today, somebody cut me off. I was on the main road.
Why is it that everybody's always cutting you off?
I don't know. I was on the main road. I was doing the speed limit. I wasn't speeding or anything, driving crazy. And she had the yield.
Oh, it was a woman?
Yeah, and she cut in front of me, but then gave me one of those hands, which what are you doing? But to me, and I was like, ma'am, you cut me off.
Excuse me.
Who do you think you are? And I didn't even get mad. I just was like, oh, I guess I'll brake. Thanks for testing my brakes for me.
Was this on Deerfoot?
No, this was in your neighborhood.
At a traffic circle?
No, not even a traffic circle.
The fuck?
She just had she was turning onto the main road, but going the opposite direction I was. But I was already on the main road. It was weird. I was just kind of and then she was mad at me, and I was like, I don't know what you want from me.
You're like, I don't have the energy to be mad at you right now.
Yeah, I was like, it's 9 in the morning. I don't need this right now. Ma'am, I'm sorry.
Oh my God.
You must be on your way to go get coffee, but it's not it's not my fault. I didn't do it.
You're like, it's Saturday. Why are you mad at the world?
Yeah.
It's 9 o'clock. What do you have to be mad
Saturday.
about?
Go back to bed, ma'am.
Yeah.
You don't have to be up unless you're working. In that case, I'm so sorry.
Then she does have something to be
And
mad
then-
about.
yeah.
And then
she's-
it's totally valid.
100%.
Yeah.
But I guess speaking of working on a Saturday,
Wait, where's this going?
a topic that I kind of wanted to bring into because we...
That was a beautiful segue.
Thank you so much. We worked both, not at the same place, but we worked at a restaurant. I'm not sure if we're going to say the name. We'll call it Bob.
Okay.
Bob the restaurant.
Love Bob.
And I saw a TikTok this
About
morning,
Bob?
actually, about a girly who was those who know. And it was a photo of Bob the restaurant.
Okay.
And I looked at all the comments, and they were just this was the worst place I've ever worked in my life. It was so clicky. It was so traumatizing.
Clicky.
And I feel it would be a disservice not to vent to people how awful it is to be a server in a restaurant.
At
and just
Bob's?
At Bob's restaurant. Bob's restaurant.
If you guys know what we're talking about, which restaurant we're talking about, you should put it in the comments.
Yeah.
If you know what Bob is, what the Bob restaurant actually is. I don't know. I mean, look. I look back a little fondly at Bob's.
Really? Well, it doesn't have to be Bob specifically.
Bob's was kind of my only serving experience, though.
No, you served at the other
fucking
restaurant.
Simon's Valley Ranch, but that was owned by a chef who had no idea how to run a company, and then he gave it to his brother, who was a part-time actor, a stunt actor, and dressed like a hobo, had no management experience. He was crazy. He was insane.
And yet those are the people that are what's a great idea? Running a restaurant.
And I don't know if I really served. I was more like a host. I don't really know what I did. I don't know if that one really counts because it wasn't even really that busy. And I worked there maybe for a year.
I don't think you worked there for very long.
And everyone that walked out of that restaurant, where are they now kind of stories.
Yeah.
2 of them I would say are healthy and happy, not including myself. And the others, somebody had burned down that restaurant. I'm solely convinced it was the owner.
T, actually?
Yeah. So the brothers got kicked out of the space because I don't think they were paying rent. And then 2 weeks later, the restaurant was burned down for arson.
Oh, they probably claimed something and got money
Well,
for
the
it.
owner of the actual building kicked them out and was like, you can't stay. And that guy was kind of nice. I actually really liked the owner of the building. He was actually a really nice guy. But then there was the guy who co-owned, and he for sure did crack. For sure.
Love
and
that.
he had 2 big dogs. and he brought them with him everywhere and expected us to feed them. It was the craziest thing.
Like while you're working?
One time, this restaurant was crazy, dude. One time I was serving and it was just, and I always did the brunch rush, right? Because I was in high school. Like, I'm not serving during the day on the weekdays. And so I would only serve on Saturdays and maybe Sundays. And the chef that worked there, that wasn't the head chef who owned the restaurant, that's actually where I met a bunch of celebrities from Canada too, which was very interesting.
Oh my God, what the fuck was that?
Was that my phone?
That was the loudest noise I've ever heard in my entire life. The way I thought we were going through the floor into your main fucking house.
What was that noise?
Was that not your phone? What was that? Now you're stressing me out. What fell?
Oh, it was my phone.
Okay. It's just her phone. No big deal. Phones are made to be like thrown into the fiery pits of hell.
That was actually very
That was the
scary.
loudest boom.
I wonder if the mic picked that up.
I
Anyways,
hope so.
Yeah, so this guy who actually went to prison because he like drunk drove and like ended up killing somebody.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I'll tell you that story. Okay, so maybe I do have some stories about
I
this
knew
restaurant.
you did.
So this guy was like a chef and like was always a little creepy, like towards me.
Like sexually?
Not so. Well, I don't know.
Like weird. Like just
But
creepy.
I was the same age as his daughter, so like,
creepy.
yeah, creepy. And I don't know what he was. I think he was watching anime, but I didn't really look. And they were making like sexual noises on this TV inside the kitchen that he was cooking. And there was like families having like breakfast, and they could hear like these noises.
No way.
Yeah, and so I had to go in and tell him to turn it down because
So as he's like making a family's like brunch breakfast special, he's watching like tentacle porn.
I don't know. I assume it was anime. I don't think it was like.
It wasn't like full pornography, but it definitely was.
I don't know. I didn't look, and it wasn't like. I'm not gonna repeat the noises, but like,
please don't. Please don't.
But like, you know how anime can be. Sometimes
Yes.
even anime sounds like, oh, is this anime or is this?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like sometimes, like my husband loves watching anime. Like of all, like you know, most of it's like One Piece and like stuff that's not. Well, I mean, One Piece is pretty boobalicious, but the girls are always portrayed the same in these shows, and they all kind of make the same noises. Anyways.
If you know, you know.
He'll be watching. I'm sure a lot of women have men that they have in their lives, mostly husbands and boyfriends who watch anime. It's like a thing. Guys like to watch anime. I wonder why. And don't get me wrong, like I like some animes. Like I'm obsessed with a few animes, and some of the guys in those animes, I'm like, he cute though, you know. But
I get that.
Again, portrayed in a very different manner. But sometimes I'll like walk into the living room while he's watching, and it's just a shot of like a girl's boobs, and I'm like, "What the fuck are you?" And he's like, "No. It's just a show. It's just a show. Don't." Like he'll freak out and he'll spiral and he'll be like, "Wait, no."
I feel like the need to like defend yourself like already makes you guilty.
Like what was a show that he showed me, and I was like, "Okay, I kind of understand what you're talking about." Food Wars. Have you ever seen Food Wars?
No.
I want to tell you to watch it, but you shouldn't. It's basically like a guy who's like a chef that like makes food that's just amazing, so much that it makes people like come to fruition. And so it shows them like meeting that point every time he makes them a dish.
Every time.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah, right? Top tier chef right there. Why is he not just the best chef in the world? Nobody knows. So anyways, animes like that exist. So maybe it was an anime, maybe it was something else. Again, I was a teenager. I didn't fucking look. I didn't care to look. I just told him you got to turn it down because there's 5-year-olds having breakfast with their parents and they can hear it. And like customers were complaining about it. So there was that story. This is the same guy that they used to like have campfires and stuff outside of the restaurant because there was bonfires. And I never attended these because I was a teenage girl. But they would like, you know, I come the next morning, there'd be like moonshine, like cherries, like sitting out and like tequila shots. Like they would drink. And this guy drank like pretty heavily. And I guess he left the restaurant to like create like a food truck company, and I guess while he had like branched off, he drank one night and drove under the influence, and him, a friend, and a girl were in the car, and he ran into a tree and he ended up killing the girl.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and so he went to prison for like quite a few years.
Well, he can no longer watch his anime, so that sucks.
So like there was that guy who kind of walked away not okay. Then the hotel owner, or not the hotel owner, the restaurant owner was a chef who worked at another restaurant downtown Calgary and then created his own restaurant. And again, they lost the restaurant. So I don't know where this guy ended up, but I'm sure he was always so short-tempered, and like he was like, I mean, head chefs usually are. Anybody who has worked in a kitchen knows that head chefs are usually pretty temperamental and pretty like short fused, but he was like crazy. And so I don't know where he ended up, but I actually kind of hope he's okay because he wasn't that bad. And then his brother was the one that was fucking psychotic, and he was like a part-time actor and like would go film stuff in like Vancouver as like a stuntman. And then also before he became the manager, he would just come and like fix stuff in his brother's restaurant. So he'd like screw in light bulbs. He was like a handyman. And then just one day he became the manager and managed us girls. And there was like four of us, and he was insane. He was insane.
I mean, I feel like they always, anyone who like genuinely works at a restaurant, I feel like not that you're a bad person, but I think it just takes such a toll on you that you just like lose your sanity.
Well, any kind of like, I think hospitality, you kind of lose like your grit, or you gain it and you're like, you'll never be the same.
You're never the same.
But I would say like, yeah, like, and then there was two girls that definitely made it out okay.
It sounds like a legit like train crash. Like they walked away with like mild.
Well, they both got out pretty early. Like all three of us kind of left before things really hit the fan. There was a guy there that served there too. He was like a bartender or something, and he was a figure skater. He was like an Olympic figure skater, and he had a crush on me, and but he was like he wasn't gay. He was a straight guy, but he was so flamboyant. Mm-hmm. Like he would wear, you know what he was like? He was like, what is his name? The guy from High School Musical.
Ryan. Sharpay's brother, right?
Sharpay's brother.
Yeah.
Like that.
Ryan, what's their last name? Who cares? Ryan. That's his name.
I don't remember.
Evans. Ryan Evans. Sharpay Evans. Oh my God. Thank you.
Wow. Trivia.
Yeah.
He was like that. And he looked just like him. He was a cute guy, but he just, I could never get on board with him. Mm-hmm. And then I accidentally like gave him my number, and he
accidentally.
Well, like my phone was out and he put his number in my phone and then texted himself.
Oh, ew, I hate that.
And then he wouldn't stop texting me.
Ew.
Yeah, it was a little much. But he was like an Olympic figure skater for like Canada. So there was walks of people that
Did you ever like watch him on the Olympics? Text him and be like, that was kind of a flop.
Because I wasn't. Boo, yeah. You suck. No, I wasn't that invested in this guy.
Yeah, fair.
I definitely had like was yearning after guys in high school that I was going to school with instead of him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyways, so silly. There was another guy that I met there who was like he was like a guest, or like we were hosting a wedding, and he was one of the guests at this wedding. I was bartending, and
ooh, a bartender.
Obviously liked me and had asked me out on a date, and he was like, I'm only in Calgary for like 2 days and I'm staying at this hotel, blah 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 blah. So I went to go pick him up, and we went on a date, and he got so fucking weird that I literally said like, I either drive you back to your hotel or you're fucking walking, but this date is over.
No, I need details now.
He was just being weird, and he was asking me questions like, what's your favorite position? And like
yoga position, right?
And I was like, child's pose.
Yeah.
Whoa. He was, oh, no, not like that. Not like that. Oh my God. No. I actually do like child's pose is probably my favorite, or like Warrior One.
Yeah. It's Slay.
Don't take that shit out of context. Not child's pose. My God, Jesus Christ.
The yoga. We're talking about yoga.
I meant yoga. No, he was like, like prying for like inappropriate questions. So I was like, and then it just kind of kept getting worse and worse and worse. And then he wanted to go to like this abandoned parking lot and talk. And I was like, I'm
romantic.
I'm fucking terrified of you.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. And so I was like, I'm probably just going to take you back to your hotel. And he was like, no, like it's super early. And it was like midnight. And I was like, I want to go home. And
you're like, no, it's not for me. Sorry.
And he was like, and I remember my parents were like, finally, she's going on a date. and I went on the date and I came back and my parents were like, how was it? I'm like, I'm never dating fucking anybody again. And they were like, all right, well,
cool.
You can't win them all.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyways, so yeah, like there was just some interesting walks of life. We had hosted the Juno's wrap up party because Juno's is like for like all Canadian artists, and I met people from like the Next Star.
See, that's cool.
Like and people from ET and like a bunch of Canadian celebrities. So they all sucked. They all sucked big time.
Oh.
They sucked. They were all like, do you know who I am?
And you're like, no.
And I'm like, I actually don't. Are you Weatherman? Like,
do you want salad or fries?
Salad or fries, yeah. So that wasn't super fun. But yeah, like it was an interesting experience, but it was very, very short-lived. And I wouldn't say any of it. One time, okay, it's late enough that I don't have to worry about like my old manager like contacting me. But I actually, the first time I ever had a brownie of specific kind.
Yeah.
I had
organic brownie.
An organic grass-grown brownie.
Yeah, grass-fed brownie.
Actually was the only time I ever, because I was like, this is a horrible, horrible experience. But I had it really late at night, the night before I was supposed to go and serve brunch on a Saturday. Because I didn't understand the concept of how you metabolize these things when you eat them versus when you like use other methods. And I went to the restaurant and I actually had to serve like it completely incapacitated. And I don't remember. And my fucking TA teacher showed up and I had to serve him.
I honestly don't like.
I don't remember what happened.
I don't know how you did that.
I don't know how either people knew that I was high or they had no idea. And if they had no idea, I have no idea how I pulled that shit off.
Oh, you did it. I wasn't there, but I can guarantee you're probably like blurry-eyed, cross-eyed, bloodshot, being like, so, hey.
Hi, I would like my eggs sunny side. Eggs on Sunday? I honestly don't. I think I was actually able to hold it together, but I really don't remember. I don't remember a lot about that day. And then that night, my parents had gone to like my grandparents for dinner, and I was obviously at work still. And then my neighbor, who also worked at the restaurant, she drove me back home because I didn't drive at the time. And
thank God.
Thank God. Yes. Can I please add that detail? I didn't drive. And I fell asleep, had the best sleep of my life because I was obviously like coaxed into sedation.
Yeah.
And I woke up and my dad came home and was like, your grandma gave me like 30-year-old hash oil. You want to smoke some? And I was like, no, I never want to do any of this ever again. And then I told him that I had ate a pot brownie and he was like, bring that shit down. I want to try it. And I gave it to him.
He's like, dope. Can I have some?
And I gave it to him and he was like, this is weak sauce. And I was like, what the fuck?
What fuck it? I mean, I'm sure you were probably like high, but not to the point where like you just couldn't speak or move, which like, thank God. Like, how did you
Spencer,
work a shift?
I think I greened out.
What?
The night before, I definitely think I greened out.
Oh my God.
I was so high that so I ate it and I fell asleep. And then I woke up at like 11 o'clock at night with my heart fucking racing out of my chest. It was like, I woke up with like a heart attack. So I'm freaking out because I don't realize that I'm high. So I call my friend who gave me the brownie and I'm like, what is happening to me? And he's like, you're just high. And I'm like, okay, what do I do? And he's like, okay, you should probably get some food in your system. I'm like, why is my mouth so dry? He's like, get yourself some water. And so I'm on the phone with him and I run upstairs. I'm living with my parents. I'm like, I don't know, 16, 17 years old. And I run into the pantry and the first thing I see is like the Great Value version of like Cinnamon Toast Crunch. So it's Cinnamon Toast Crunch and it's not the like original quality. So I start throwing dry ass cereal in my mouth.
That'll help. Yep. That'll help.
And I'm trying to eat it as fast as I can because I'm like, I need to eat food he told me to eat. And so I'm shoveling dry ass cereal and my mouth is so dry.
Yeah, you're like, why is this happening to me?
It's like zapping every ounce of moisture from my mouth.
And drinking water is just not on the table. It's just not an option.
I forgot. I got distracted.
You're high.
Eating cereal.
The munchies kicked in before.
And so I'm still eating cereal. And then I run back down to my room and I'm still fucking panicking. And so I'm having okay, this is a really good question because I feel like this has happened to me before. Have you ever had a conversation with yourself sober and then like not sober, like whether you're drunk or whether you're high, sober you kicks into your thoughts and then you're having like a conversation with yourself?
Yeah, it's like it's the duality of like the inner part. It's
almost like you take a backseat version of yourself.
Yeah. That's exactly it.
I feel like a really good example of that is when you go to the bathroom and you're drunk and you look at yourself in the mirror and you're like,
oh,
who the fuck am I looking at right now?
The mistakes. Yeah.
You're like, get your shit together. What are you doing?
The fuck you looking at me for?
So I was having this conversation with myself while I was obviously derailing into the world of greening out. And I'm like, I'm terrified. What am I going to do? Am I going to have a heart attack? Like, am I going to die? And I'm like, and then sober me's like, you should go talk to your parents. Like, you should go tell your dad that you're high. He smokes weed. It's okay. Go tell him. And then like high me's like, no, he's gonna grab me. I'm gonna get in trouble. I'm a teenager. I'm not supposed to be doing this stuff. And so I'm having this conversation with myself. And as I'm having this conversation with myself, I'm on the main floor of our house, walking up the stairs and then running back down the stairs. And then walking back up the stairs. Well, no one was there to see me, but I was obviously not quiet. I was obviously stomping up and down these stairs.
Because you're not like your sober mind is still there, but it's not like physically present.
It's not driving the car. Yeah, it's not driving the car. It's the passenger.
No, so that brownie's driving.
I'm stomping up and down the stairs, and my dad's in the room in his bedroom watching TV. He's probably like, "What the fuck is that noise?" We had a really big dog at the time, so maybe he thought it was our dog. Mm-hmm. But I do this like 1 or 2 times, and then I finally run back up the stairs and I'm like, I'm going to tell him. And then I see him coming because he's obviously like, who the hell is on the stairs? And it scares the shit out of me. So I run back down the stairs to my room and I never tell him. And so I don't remember much after that. I just remember staring at a wall until I fell asleep. And then I woke up and it was like 8 in the morning and I was still the same.
That first high...
And it was horrible.
Is kind of crazy, to be honest.
And that was the first time I ever got high. That was an edible.
And it wasn't like you didn't know it was like an edible, technically?
No, I definitely knew.
Oh, okay. That would be crazy.
I just didn't prepare.
You didn't realize. Well,
he told me afterwards that half a brownie would have been enough, and I had a whole brownie.
Well, that's kind of on him for not like telling you.
And I didn't realize the impact, and I didn't know that there was a difference between smoking it and eating it.
I hate edibles for that reason. It takes way too long to kick in, and you will like never know. Like it could kick in like an hour. It can kick in 2 hours.
Well, and it's like in your
4
body
hours later.
Like your fingers tingle, and it was a horrible experience.
That's so true. It's a body high.
Yeah.
It's not so much a mind high, which is why that sober part of you can kind of like come forward and be like, what the fuck is happening? Or like try to calm you down.
Yeah, I think you're right.
But then like you are still high.
I think it's the same thing when you're drunk.
Yes.
Like when I get drunk, I don't feel it in my head. I feel it in my body. Does that make sense?
I feel it in both. I hate being drunk though. I really don't like the feeling.
It takes
of being
me
drunk.
like one drink now because I hardly drink. Like I'll have like a glass of champagne and I'm like, woo!
Oh yeah, my top's off, like swinging in the air. Yeah,
they're like, 100%. Sarah, we're still at work. We're just having a glass of champagne.
They're like, we put Baileys in your coffee and it wasn't even a full ounce. Like, bitch, calm down.
So I mean, like, obviously it's very easy for me to get that little buzz. But yeah, I mean, the restaurant there was very interesting. I definitely walked away with some interesting stories, but I wouldn't say my experience as a server sucked. It was more just the perfect storm. Whereas Bob's was, I was working, did I ever tell you how I got hired for Bob's?
I remember it being like kind of random.
It was super random. So, I was working retail after I left the restaurant from Simon's Valley because I was like, I need a moment.
Yeah.
So I was working retail at the mall, and me and a friend got like recruited by these people that were walking around looking for servers. They're like, you guys are cute. You should come and interview. So I went in and I interviewed, and they hired me right away. And they were opening a new restaurant downtown for this chain, Bob's. And they were preparing to open on the week of Stampede, which is a huge event.
Wild.
Here in Calgary. And so they did like extensive training. We had to write tests. We had to serve managers before the restaurant had even opened to show that we could like work. Like it was very, very, very intense. And there was hundreds of people in this building. So much so that my husband, who I didn't even know at the time, was a chef in the back. And I didn't even know he existed for at least, I got hired in June, July, August. So for 4 months, I didn't even know he existed.
Damn.
Yeah. And he didn't even know I existed.
Were you guys hired at the same time?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. But you just, because like you were always in the front, he was always in the back.
And it was busy. It was really, really busy. Plus, I was dating, not really dating, but I was seeing this guy that you did not like very much. And
bless him.
I was, really, truly bless him.
Bless him.
I really, really, I still look back on him very fondly. I think our relationship would have, we never really had like a relationship, but I was pretty obsessed with him at the time. Like I was very much like head over heels for this guy. But things like life had gotten in the way and it didn't end up working out. So I I'd really leaned into him for like a month and a half, 2 months. And like, it was just kind of us leaning into each other and really like trying to get to know each other, to even see like where this would go and all this. And I was I always really had a thing for jocks. I loved sporty guys. So he kind of fit that docket for me. Spencer, I brought Spencer to Bob's to have lunch with me because I was off and he was serving, and and he didn't even open his mouth, and you turned to me and you were like, no. I was like, Spencer, you have to meet him. He's a wonderful guy. And she's like, abso-fucking-lutely not. Like, what? Are you kidding me? And then they talked and I was like, he's really nice, right? And you were like, yeah, still no.
He is a nice guy. I'm sure.
I haven't talked to him in a really long time.
I mean, he was a nice guy.
Mind you, this was like 8-9 years ago.
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy to
right?
me.
That's actually
9 years ago.
You put that into perspective and I'm like, oh, so I'm withering away. Cool. Glad.
This is what aging looks like. It's horrible.
I mean, it doesn't feel good, but sometimes it can be fun.
This is true. So anyways, we finally decided that, well, he left to go and figure something out. And I had maybe realized that I needed to just be without anybody. And at that time, that is right when I met Leo. Mm-hmm. And I didn't even know he existed until he kind of just, I stopped seeing this one guy, and then this other guy kind of showed up and had expressed that he was interested. And I was like, sure, like, let's go on a date. Like, I'm cool to get to know you. I realized that we were better off friends than we were like in a relationship, but I still wanted to lean into the opportunity of friendship. And I know this sounds so stupid as like a girl saying that, because a lot of guys are like, you friend zone, like girls are always friend zoning guys. But genuinely, I was in a place mentally where I was like, I didn't want a relationship. Mm-hmm. And I just wanted to develop connections. I just wanted to get to know people. I wanted to build friendships. I wanted to lean into a new group of people because I kind of had separated from people I had known from high school. Not in any kind of bad way. I just kind of had outgrown that phase of my life. And I was building new friendships. And so I was like, well, if I'm not attracted to you in that capacity, I still want to know you as a person.
Yeah.
Like, just because I don't see myself stepping into a phase doesn't mean that I don't enjoy you as a person. So I hope that sounds how it is meant to sound. And so I had invited him to come and have lunch with us, and he was friends with Leo. And so Leo saw him, and then Leo saw me, and then he came over and had lunch with us. And that kind of started this whole whirlwind. But for like 1.5 months, I tried to avoid him.
Leo?
Yeah.
Bye.
I didn't want a relationship.
I mean,
but I was
fair.
very attracted to him, and I found myself wanting to pursue him, but I had also told myself, you need to stop doing that shit, because every time you do, you end up with heartbreak. So you need to like just fucking chill for a beat and just enjoy being you. And so I kept going on dates with him, but I also was constantly convincing myself that I was going to call it and like end it. And there was one person who actually was like, you shouldn't. Like, he's pretty serious about you. And so I was like, all right, let's just see where this goes. And like literally the rest is history.
I love that. See, you had better experiences at Bob's than I did.
This is what I'm talking about, is like I met my husband at Bob's. We look back on Bob's fondly because of that, because my life changed because of Bob's.
Yeah.
My life as being who I am outside of my family started from Bob's. Does that make sense?
That.
So I developed my identity there. So it's hard for me to separate the two. Now, being a server, I was also only a server for a short period of time, and then I started going to school, and I was like, I gotta get the fuck out of serving.
Yeah.
And so I started becoming a cash manager, and I just worked as a cash manager where I would tip out people and I would work on accounts and stuff. And so I was hardly on the floor at that point. But I think if you're seeing videos about Bob's being spoken about in terms of how cliquey it is, I would agree.
Yeah.
There's also like some interesting information around like them kind of like brainwashing people to
1,000%.
step into like manager based roles. Like
1,000%.
I remember Leo pursued stepping into a higher role at Bob's and became like a sous chef for a very, very short period of time, because he was like, this is fucking crazy. I have to get the fuck out of here. And then he tried to quit, and the chef wouldn't let him quit, so he demoted him. Isn't that funny?
Wait, what?
Yeah, he was going to quit.
And the chef was like, no, please don't.
I'll demote you back to where you were before.
Damn.
Yeah. So, but he had to go to a training. Every time you step up in a level of management, you have to go into training for it. And every training gets more and more
like not gruesome,
culty.
But like, yeah.
Super culty from what I've heard. I've never been in any of those trainings. And
I
it's
was
funny,
in a lot of them.
I dodged a very, very strong bullet, because I actually had applied for a leadership role at Bob's, and I didn't get it. I was like the runner up, and I didn't get it. And thank God I didn't get it.
I was forced into it. Not super forced, but like I was pretty forced into it alongside Leo.
It's pretty sus, I would say. So I definitely understand. Bob's has also had some like situations come up, like our specific Bob's, women had like spoken out about some like assaults sexually that was like happening, and like some people who were being very creepy and not awesome. And so I think there's a lot of speculation and a lot of kind of shit that goes on underneath the surface. Although I feel like any kind of major chain restaurant probably, like there's other restaurants that I can think of that probably have the same history.
Oh, I think like most restaurants are like that. My experience with Bob's, so like I started as a hostess, which honestly, like it sucked because I didn't make as much money compared to like the other things I do for the restaurant. But it was the happiest I was, because it was just like, it was easy. You showed up for your shift. I was really good at like timing things and mapping things out. Mm-hmm. So I was always just kind of like lead hostess. And then I would just get all my other like minions to go do the things I just didn't like doing, like cleaning.
Yeah.
Because you'd have to clean the bathrooms. And I was like, ugh, people are so gross.
Yeah.
So I like hosting sucked, but like I did get like flipped off by customers because they were pissed off that.
Yeah, I think the customers are probably the worst part about serving. It's just because where I worked, it was a little different than where you worked. I worked with all the businessmen and women. So I worked with the oil businessmen and women, and they're just so fucking entitled.
They are. I had a few trickle in, and those were like sometimes the easiest because like they're in like basically a business meeting, at least when they came to my Bob's.
Yeah.
That like you just kind of like refill their drinks. You take their order once.
I just found they were very particular.
Sometimes they were. My problem was the rich white women that came in and felt like they owned you.
Yeah.
In that moment.
The ones that didn't have jobs.
Owned you. They like, you made none of your money. That's your husband's money, bitch, that you're spending. Which like, pop off. But that doesn't mean you get to treat me like shit.
Yeah, if anything, find me my husband.
Yeah, exactly. Where's your son at? Hello. Of course.
I think there was also like... I don't know if you had the same experience, but I found that the servers at Bob's in specific spaces, their regulars were sometimes like gropey and like
the lounge regulars.
Yeah, and I always tried to stay away from it because it always creeped me out. And I remember there was an incident where I was serving in the lounge and there was these young guys who obviously like finished up work, came for happy hour, and I think they thought that I was cute. And so they were trying to get me to stay, and I was wrapping up for the day. And I was like, okay, I'm going to close my bill with you guys, and then the server's going to take over. And they're like, well, you guys, like, you should stay for a drink, and like, we'll get you some food, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm in a relationship for like, I think at that point we were together for maybe 2 years already or something. And we were living together. So it was serious enough. Mm-hmm. For me, it was very serious. Like, he was the person that I wanted to spend my life with. And I politely declined and was closing up at the till, and one of the servers came up to me and was like, you should have just like let them buy stuff for you. And I was like, well, but like they're doing it because they are trying to pursue me, and it's unfair for me to do that if I'm not available. Like, and she's like, well, it's not cheating, like just take the food, take the drinks, spend some time with them, flirt a little, and then go. And in the back of my head I was like, that to me is cheating. And not like, you know, there's obviously micro cheating. Everybody determines cheating in different capacities. But like, if I'm emotionally investing in somebody the way that I would with my person to get what I want, that seems slimy. And it reduces the thing that I give to my person. You know what I mean?
I also just like, I don't want your money, old man.
He wasn't old. He was a really cute young guy. But again, she was like, well, you should just let them buy you drinks and food. And like, you don't have to do with anything with them. You don't have to sleep with them. And I was like, I felt like a bit like I was selling my body. And I was like, fuck no.
Yeah, you're still selling out because they just want like it's like how, like I'm working. Like, leave me alone.
So then I stopped serving in the lounge and I moved over to the dining room, and I had fantastic regulars. They were like families and old married couples and people who would like bring their kids, and they were all awesome. I loved my regulars because they were in the dining room and they were chill and they knew who I was and I knew who they were, and like there was no ulterior motive.
See, in my Bob's, even the regulars, like they had to have a very specific table. And if that table was like full, like say somebody was sat there like 3 hours prior, you would think that like in an hour and a half people would leave. That's usually the time given. And if they were still there after 3 hours, you can't just be like, oh, sorry, somebody else claimed this table.
Yeah.
But if that table wasn't ready for whatever reason, like they would have bitch flips. And it's like embarrassing for us because like as a hostess, like I really did get like the blunt of the force and the anger. Mm-hmm. As soon as a manager came up, and I did do management, so I knew both sides. Like as a hostess, I would get shit on. Literally, people would flip me off. They'd yell at me. They'd like call me names. When I was a manager, they would like use their sweet voice and be like, I'm just like really sad and disappointed. And it's just like working both of it, you see through all of it and you're just like, you laugh at them in your head. Mm-hmm. And like, but part of Bob's like culture is that like, not like the customer is always right, but like you bend on your knees. Do whatever you
can for the sale.
If they say like spit on my shoe and wipe it, you spit on their shoe and you wipe it.
Yeah, they're like, just take it.
Yeah.
Like it's very kind of, and it sucked. At least at my Bob's, a woman managed my Bob's. And it really sucked to have a woman watch other women be demoralized in large capacities and do nothing about it.
Oh my God. So another little kind of snippet. I'm pretty sure the lounge servers made more money on average.
Yeah,
like,
they did.
than any of management. The person who ran that restaurant, the GM, who literally like even on their days off, they still had to work. They still had to put the efforts in.
Yeah.
Like it's exhausting. You're there at all hours of the day. Like I saw this person, I could tell it was taking a toll on them. They did not make as much money as the girlies that would just show up for 6 hours
Yeah.
and feed these men beer until they were sick.
Yeah.
Like they made so much fucking money.
Yeah.
And I also did cash outs.
But I think
And it
that's
was
the I think
fucked.
that's the tricky thing about serving though, is like when you're a pretty server and you have regulars and you're making all this money, it's really easy to convince yourself to stay there. But
Yeah.
it's very like there was a lot of girls that I worked with and they're like, I'm like, well, what's your prospects? Like, what do you want to do in the future? And they're like, I want to serve here.
Yeah.
And I'm like, are you fucking serious?
A lot of them wanted to like move up in their ranks. And that's sort of Bob's culture too. Is
No,
like,
some of these girls didn't want to move up in the ranks. They wanted to stay where they were.
oh, just as servers?
Yeah. They
Some-
wanted to do what they were doing currently for the next
Well,
30 years. And
You're
in my
making
head,
the most money.
in my head, I'm like 30 years, 10 years from now, there's going to be a prettier, younger version of you, and you're not going to make the same money.
Well, that's also Bob's culture.
And you're going to have no education
is like you have to be young and pretty.
and not fat.
Yeah.
I remember there was a young girl that I worked with who was not, I don't think she was fat, but she was definitely a curvy girl. And I literally heard our general manager, who wasn't the woman at the time, it was another guy, who actually ended up getting fired because he had a coke addiction.
Love that.
Very, very common at Bob's. He literally said to her, she was like, why can't I get booked in the lounge? And he literally said to her, because you're fat.
To her face?
Yeah.
Like just that point blank period.
Yeah. And we
I would've-
reported it to the regional manager and nothing came from it.
Oh, well, fuck the regional
And then she
manager.
left pretty shortly after. But he literally said, lose weight and I'll put you in the lounge. But you're making people uncomfortable.
You're making people uncomfortable? What is it? Like, what?
Yeah.
Sorry I exist?
Because she wasn't a size 2.
That's so stupid.
She would have been like, I don't know, like a size 8, like not even, right?
Also, I guarantee she probably would have been like, she would have made the most tips. I'm like, I don't know.
She was a lovely, lovely person and she was
Yeah.
fucking funny. And I think having wit when you're serving is a really good thing to have.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just like, it was really hard to see those things and not lean into it but have to be a part of it because this is your job and it's making money. You're making money. And for me, I was attending school. So I was like, I'm not fucking leaving because these hours are flexible and they know my hours and like it's paying for rent, which I need. So it was definitely kind of like a double-edged sword for sure. Granted, I was in Bob's way longer than Leo was. Leo left Bob's maybe 2.5, 3 years in. I was at Bob's for like 5 years.
taken everything from me. I'm gone.
I joined Bob's when I was 19 and I left in 2020.
Damn. I had to
2016 to 2020.
I think I got hired. I was hired around COVID time. Because when I started, it was like mostly closed. Like we were doing like online orders. People would just like come pick up, like no contact sort of thing. So my transition into it was a little easier. But by the end of it, I was office manager. So I wasn't serving, same as you.
Yep.
And I had the stomach flu. Like I haven't had a stomach flu since I was a kid. It was like super random. I got the stomach flu and they still got me to come into work. That's like, and I was just like, I'm sick. I'm not only like I'm kind of like near the kitchen because that's where the office is. So like gross. That's gross. I could infect anybody.
Yeah.
Like the food, like I don't care. Like I'm clearly sick. I was vomiting that morning.
Yeah.
And you're getting me to come in and like type on a computer. Not that I don't wash my hands, but like, hello. I'm
Yeah.
also like not in the like I have like so many like
I'm gonna stop to throw up.
Yeah.
And proceed. Like
yeah, exactly. Like excuse me while I just barf before I like
Yeah,
finish
yeah,
what
yeah.
I need to do. And like you need me to fix things in the computer that you don't know how to fix. But like I'm on like 30 fucking milligrams of like NyQuil.
Yeah,
Like I
yeah.
don't know what like I don't even know what's going on right now.
yeah, you're like, you're not getting quality. If you want me to come in, I'll do it. But no guarantees that everybody's getting what they need.
Oh, 100%. And after that, I was like, this isn't for me.
Yeah, yeah.
That corporate, whatever, restaurant lifestyle, you know? And it's true, like, watching people slowly, like, die like on the inside. I think also is just like, I just can't be here. This place, it's like, it's toxic in a way that like everybody's overworked. It's cliquey. There's like, yeah, like there's like weird beauty standards. If you don't look a certain way, then you don't get certain jobs. And like, that's so unfair.
Yeah.
And they only really cared about the money.
Yeah.
It was just really frustrating. And I honestly, like the end of it, like the customers I couldn't deal with either.
Yeah. But I also would speak to everybody should serve.
I agree. 100%
Like, even though
agree.
we're talking shit about serving, I think everybody should learn how to serve, lean into hospitality as a first job because it teaches you so much about yourself, how you manage stress, and it develops empathy.
You do, yeah.
And compassion for other people. Like, anytime I'm at a restaurant, I'm very considerate to my servers now.
Same.
I was just at a Bob's at another location, and I saw the servers and I knew exactly what they were going through. And so I was very kind to our server because I understood that, like, you can't control this shit. And I just, I think everybody should do it because you develop a sense of understanding that you cannot develop any other way.
Serving and retail are two jobs that like you can tell people who never had to work those jobs because in all honesty, you're assholes. They're assholes. They suck. They're the worst type of people.
Yeah.
And it's because they've built this entitlement where they've never been humbled and they've never experienced like what it's like to be on the other side of that.
You've never wanted to spit in somebody's food before, then you haven't lived.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I don't know if I ever did that.
I never did.
I don't think I did.
I couldn't.
No, I definitely didn't. Why am I questioning if I wouldn't do something like that, but I definitely fantasized about spitting in people's food.
Fantasized. I would never do it because I just like that's gross. I would never wish that upon someone, but like I'd fantasize about it.
There was one guy who would always order a specific thing that wasn't on the fucking menu.
Yeah,
Don't order shit that's not on the fucking menu.
That's so real.
You don't want something that's on the menu. You want something that's not on the menu. Go home and make it. Like,
Thank you.
Don't fucking order shit that's, hey, I want a quesadilla. Is that on the menu? No.
Do you see it on the fucking menu?
All right, then fucking leave.
This is a Bob's.
Yeah, this is a Bob's. You think we have quesadillas here?
Mucho Burritos across the street.
So
like, just go.
I just he would do that every time. And then we would make it wrong because it wasn't on the fucking menu and he would criticize me. And he wanted to sit in my section every time. I'm like, do you get off? Like, he didn't like me. He wasn't friendly to me. He was a horrible, horrible guy. And he always brought his clients there to have business meetings. And then he would always shit on me at the end. And I'm like, and then he didn't tip. And then he didn't tip.
Oh, just the worst people.
Like,
they're like, seriously.
If you haven't just wanted to scream cry in your bathroom in the back room, then you haven't lived.
Then you haven't lived. You haven't been a server. You haven't been retail.
Yeah.
Try working retail on Boxing Day or Christmas Eve.
Stampede.
Yeah, try working Stampede.
When you're working the fucking patio.
Oh my god. Lilac Fest.
And you're bringing out sangrias.
Oh my god. People suck. First of all, they're already hammered. They come to Bob's already
They do already come to Bob's
full of
drunk.
liquor.
Yeah.
And they want more.
Yeah.
And it's like, technically I haven't served you liquor, but like, do I cut you off already?
Well, and your boss would always be like, yeah.
And they're
give them
poor.
more. And I'm
because
like,
it's Stampede, so they're spending all their money
they're
on
not
like
tipping.
$12 beers. So they're not tipping.
Yeah.
It's like
and
maybe $2.
And late into the night, if you were working night shifts, people would stay when you would close down. And you'd be like, you need to get the fuck out. And they wouldn't leave. So you'd just be there until they left. And you'd have to like close down patio. And you'd have to close down the restaurant. Like you were working to close things down. And people weren't leaving. So you have to wait for them to leave so you could close down. Like it was just...
It was fucked. It's a humbling
horrible
job. Like I don't regret working at Bob's or any other serving that I've done. I don't regret it because it gives me a lot more patience with other people. Mm-hmm. I also understand that when I go to a restaurant, there's a menu for a fucking reason, as you were saying. You don't get to just make up food and hope that they'll make it for you. You're not that entitled. But also, like, you have to understand that, like, they're putting out food and then immediately washing it sometimes. And so not everything's going to be extremely clean. Not everything's going to be extremely perfect.
Cross-contamination.
There's going to be cross-contamination. Things are going to be mixed around. And as well, I'm sorry to be the one to say it, but most of those chefs are 20-year-olds
They're
who are
12-year-old kids.
out of their fucking mind. They had the same brownie you did.
Leo told me a story that this is how much chefs don't check their shit sometimes. Granted, how could this guy know? But the salads are bagged, and then they would literally just put them into a container and then scoop the salad so that when they were ready to plate, they would just literally plate. And a guy came back or sent back his plate because there was a dead praying mantis in his salad. A praying mantis. They're huge. He found a dead praying mantis in his salad.
You probably wouldn't even know. They
didn't notice because it's a green thing. And so these things, they don't check this shit. They're kids. I'm telling you, no one in the back kitchen is anybody over 30.
Yeah. They're Gordon Ramsay's not fucking back there. He's not making your fucking pathetic little salad.
Yeah. And they don't care. If you're coming in for rush, they don't care. They don't care. They're just trying to get your food out in a time frame.
They're throwing things around. It's juggling back there. Mm-hmm. As a manager, I watched it and I was nice. It's not Bob's was actually pretty good with cleanliness. I will give them that. They were really good with cleanliness, but still, the workers are they're kids. Mm-hmm. They don't give a fuck about you. They're not getting paid enough to deal with and I hate to be that bitch. But sometimes there's somebody that came in and they had 60 allergies. And I'm that's not your fault that you have so many allergies.
But don't eat out.
But don't eat out. At least not at Bob's. Because I can't accommodate for everything that you have.
And again, cross-contamination. It's of course something that you can avoid, but it's not something that you can avoid 100%.
Yes.
So, and what if the server brings you the wrong plate? Things happen. So again, yeah, anytime I'm at a restaurant, my expectation is not as high as I think some people's. And I'm it's because there's a fucking kid serving me and there's a kid in the kitchen and they're just trying to make it through their 8 hours here.
Your server has
this is a run out the clock
tables.
situation. This is not, let's do the best job possible.
Yes. Yeah, it's true. You have 12 tables to manage. I can't give you my everything. I can't sit there and chit chat with you and ask about your life story and compliment you and how beautiful your eyes. I just can't do it.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring you the stuff that you asked for. I will do my best to accommodate you, but if you have so many accommodations, just fucking eat at home. I don't have the patience.
Yeah.
I mean, realistically, we're probably going to fuck up, especially when we're slammed. It's just inevitable. Mm-hmm. You can't go to any restaurant and have extremely high expectations.
Yeah, it's true.
I'm sorry. And I know you're paying for the experience. Spend your money somewhere else. Just straight up. Bob's is not the place.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, serving, man. It's an interesting experience. I have good memories from it and I have good stories and I think that's what matters. But I'll never go back.
No. I mean, I've considered it, especially just because I'm for the summer specifically, it is just kind of easy money in that way. The work itself is shitty and the people you deal with are shitty. But realistically, sometimes you walk out of there with decent tips.
It's true.
And if you're
I still won't go back.
No, how could you?
And the nightmares that you get from working as a server, I still get workmares from Bob's. Still. Yes. I'll be carrying a tray of drinks and I have to walk up a hill and I have 10 million tables behind me that I have to serve.
And you have open blisters.
It's horrible. The nightmares that I still get from that job.
Oh my.
Of just working in my dreams. It's horrible.
It really does.
The workmares. Yeah. We used to talk about that all the time at the restaurant. We'd be when was your last workmare? Well, last night. Same here. Yeah. And the fucking drinks. I just couldn't stand the drinks. I hated margarita night because everything was sticky.
Yeah, same.
And everybody ordered margaritas. Sangria was always the bane of my existence because this shit was so fucking heavy. And the people who are let's order the big one. It's a huge carafe of sangria and you'd have to carry this thing. Like the amount of servers that I would see just eat shit on the floor because they're in heels. And you couldn't wear at the time, I think it's changed now, but
I think it has.
at the time you couldn't wear flats because if you stepped on a piece of glass and you cut your foot because it went through your shoe, workers' comp wouldn't cover you. So you'd have to wear heels. So you're in heels, you're off balance, and you're carrying this giant ass thing of sangria. How is that not a formula for disaster?
My least favorite were the martinis because, like, I'm sorry, like, balancing a stick.
I just carried
like
them with my
that?
hand and I would come back for the rest of my drinks.
Oh, they'd piss on me. Like, management would be like, why the fuck do you not have a tray on your hand? You should always have a tray on your hand. And I'm like, I can't, like, I'm not a good balancer. I'm sorry. I have zero balance. I can barely walk on my 2 feet. They call me Bambi for a fucking reason, ma'am. Like, don't think that I'm balancing a bunch of drinks on a small little fucking tray. My hands are the size, like, of, like, 3 nickels. Like, I can't do this shit.
I just stopped carrying. I was like, fucking fire me or let me do my job.
Slay.
Figure it out. But yeah, I hated that day too. The beers were my favorite because they were just so easy to carry. But the amount of times that I would spill shit on people.
Oh my God. I spilled on myself a lot. Mm-hmm. Oh, I had one slushy drink on the tray and I was lowering down to like put it on her table and I don't know how the fuck I did it, but it like fell backwards and just like all down my front. And they were my first customer of like an 8-hour shift. And I was just like, sorry, ma'am, I'll bring you another one. And then I went to the back and I just stared at myself. I had one of those like drunk, but I wasn't drunk. I just stared at myself.
Crisis. You're like, look at you, you piece of shit.
Yeah, you useless fucking bitch. With like, I smelled of like alcohol and peach for the rest of the day. And I was just like, I think at one point I was like, please God, cut me. Just cut me. Just please. I don't care.
Spite me. Just bring down a bolt of lightning. Yeah, oh my God.
Let me leave. Let me go home. Like, I beg of you.
The amount of times that I would spill shit on customers and I'd be like, sorry. And then I would go grab my manager and be like, fix my problem. And then I knew I wasn't getting a tip. So I was like, whatever. This experience is whatever. Like, I'm a shit server. I don't care. And then I would lean into being a shit server.
You just shit.
I would get up on their table, pull down my pants,
and say, you like it soft served? And they'd be like, ma'am, stop. I wanted an espresso martini. But there's a praying mantis in my salad, Miss Ma'am. Help me.
Do you like it soft served? We only sell chocolate here. Oh my God.
At times, though, like, I wanted
and at
to.
Stampede, you would get so many tourists from not North America, like people from all walk. Everybody knows about Stampede. It's kind of crazy to me.
Australians love it.
Mexico, everyone knew about Stampede. Like, we'd be like, we're from Calgary, and they're like, Stampede, and I'm like, like I would get
triggered.
I would get like war flashbacks. But the amount of times that like people who saw us as like these white cowboys would take pictures of you without your fucking consent. I would be bringing somebody like a Coke and they'd be like, click, 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 click. And I'm like, Jesus, like I can't ask for those back. But also, I feel like I have to sign something. Like, I feel like I need to consent to this. So that would piss me off.
Did you ever have people with their like selfie sticks like walk in and like they're just videotaping and you're standing there like, sir, can I get you a table? Like, how can I help you?
This is a Bob's. Hello?
Yeah, literally. But they're just like, they're showing around like the place and like ooh and ahhing. And I'm like, would you like a water?
I don't know if I ever saw that.
Oh, that happened a lot. But I was also like, I was close to Stampede grounds. Like, we were like sort of opposite sides of Stampede grounds.
We were always the walk. So people would come off of Stampede and take the strip down Stephen Ave.
Usually we were like we were the pregame, usually. People came to my Bob's to pregame for Stampede.
We would have people come to Bob's after Stampede.
Yeah, you were the after show.
We were the after show. So it was just a gong show.
Did you prefer mornings or night shifts? Or like
mornings.
Mids.
I fucking hated
Same.
night shifts. And I knew that's where all the money was, but I absolutely hated being the closer at night. I despised it.
Same.
I would rather work brunch.
Same.
So I worked brunch. I would serve on Saturdays, and then on Sundays I would do cash. And that was kind of my week. And I was going to school, so I was doing full classes the full week. So I would work the weekend. That's literally it. And I, of course, was bringing in a decent amount of money when I would serve because I had my brunch regulars. But
Yeah.
and at the end of it, when I was in my final year, like my final semester, I just did cash.
Well, I did cash Monday to Friday, but I was still in school. So I'd wake up early, go to cash. It would take me like not even 2 hours. Mm-hmm. I was supposed to stay for 2 hours and I would finish in like 45 minutes and clock out. But and they would have to pay me for 2 hours.
Yes. But I'm done. Yeah.
I would they would put so much onto me.
And waiting for your manager to cut you,
I hated that. I would like
pay for, so they'll cut you early.
Yeah, we don't need you here.
Yes, countdown for that.
Oh, dog eyes. Like begging.
I'd be like, it's so slow here.
Yeah, there's like 100 people. And then be like, oh, like
That would be the
somebody
worst
do this.
when you would go, I think I'm going to get cut in the next hour. And then a fucking rush would show up.
A table of like 50.
And you're like, how dare you?
Yeah. And you're going to tip me, like, it would be not even worth it. Like,
No.
the time that you spend on this rush and you get an extra maybe $12.
Yeah.
And it's like, I didn't need that.
I mean, I have to thank you because I haven't thought about Bob's in a second. And it's all just rushing back.
The frustration, I mean, the frustration is not specific to Bob's. I think most people who have done serving
sure,
are
for
servers now probably experienced this. It was just like I saw Bob specifically and I was like, that's a shared experience.
I feel like there's so many restaurants like Bob's that they're all the same. I would say the only one that I would prefer less would be like Boston Pizza.
Like serving there?
Yeah, because it would get busy and you'd have to deal with family, with kids.
I'm sorry.
All kids.
I hated kids. It was one thing where I'm like I have to deal with drunk people, but like kids will like throw food under the table.
Yes.
And like to clean
Scream,
that,
crying, tantrums.
yeah, to clean that for the next person, like you're not like it's not just like picking up a fry. It's digging it out from like the crevices of the carpet. Like, I don't even know how kids manage to fucking do that. They, like, squeeze it in their hand
It's
and
the
then
mac
drop it
and
on the
cheese
floor.
and the fucking, and they look at you. It's the eye contact. They're like, you ain't gonna fucking do shit.
Yeah.
And you're like, what the hell? I brought you mac and cheese. Like, why is this so aggressive?
Right?
Like, it would happen all the time.
And parents would be like, do you have, like, crayons and, like, coloring books? And I'm like, no, this is a Bob's.
Yeah.
Like, sorry. This isn't Applebee's.
Yeah, exactly.
Go to, like, it's not technically, like, a family-friendly restaurant. I mean, it's open for everybody, but I wouldn't say it's
but like, it's not
family-friendly.
a kids restaurant.
No.
It's not made for kids.
No, it's made for like special events, I think. And now they're leaning towards seafood, which like
I saw that. I ate there recently, and it was all seafood.
it's all seafood.
Disappointed.
They want it to be bougier than it actually is,
They always wanted it to be bougier than it actually is.
which like it's not bougie.
No,
It's not cute.
no.
And like your competitor, Desert Flower Club is so much better. But they're under the same owner now. But yeah.
And when I feel like the experience for them versus Bob's is the same. I could serve at both, and I would have the same experience.
Oh,
The food's probably better though. I never really ate there because they were our competition. Although I did have a really good sandwich there once. I should probably go there soon.
I would recommend it. Like, I actually do recommend Desert Flower Club. It's the menu's better.
Way to avoid the name entirely.
Yeah, it's just so much fucking better in my opinion. Like, the menu's better. I think the atmosphere, at least, like,
Are their drinks better?
They're about the same. I don't think they're much
They're
different.
a little smaller sometimes though, right?
Yes. I think Bob's wanted people to spend money, and I feel like the way that they pursued that was through alcohol, in my opinion. I don't know if that's like really what they wanted
Did you
to
guys
do.
have Bellinis at your Bob's?
Yes.
We didn't. And people would actually hang us for it.
So ours were seasonal, And people would ask in like November, and I'd be like, no, sorry, like that's a summer drink. And people would be like, well, why? And I'm like, I don't know, ma'am. I don't fucking own Bob's. Like, do you want something to drink or not?
Call Bob.
Yeah.
Actually, one time, a lady literally showed up to my restaurant and told me that she had Bob's number.
Really?
Yeah, and that she was going to call to complain.
Okay. I don't think
Then
Bob...
fucking call Bob.
Okay, I'm sorry. That's my favorite thing is when people are pissed off and they're like, I'm never coming here again. Good.
Aw, so sad.
No.
Oh, please. No, come back. No, get the fuck out of
We
here.
don't care. You will be replaced with 5 other people. No one gives a shit. You're not that important.
Yeah.
I did have, oh my God, who did I have come to my Bob's? He's a politician. Kennedy?
Sam Smith came to our Bob's.
That's cool.
Did you know that? He came, I wasn't working that night, but Sam Smith came to our Bob's and it was full, so they had to go somewhere else. But his parents were eating at Bob's and they were being served by one of my friends. And they offered her tickets to Bob's because they were like, are you going to go see Sam Smith? And she was like, I can't, like it's fully booked out. I really tried to get in, but like I just didn't make it in time. And they were like, oh yeah, Sam Smith's our son. Do you want to get tickets and like meet him?
What a flex.
So she got tickets and she went backstage to meet Sam Smith.
That's fucking dope. To
Isn't
be that
cool?
server.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
Yeah.
To be that server. Couldn't be me.
And see, we were in that location. I wonder if it's the same thing for your Bob's, but we were in a really good location for the hotels that were in the area that we would have celebrities come in.
Oh, see, we had like Jason Kennedy.
Who's that?
He's a conservative something.
Oh, is he the premier? The old premier?
Yeah. I think that's him. He came in. I never spit in anyone's food. And that is all I'm going to say. I have never done it and I would never do it.
Did you serve him?
No, fuck no. Fuck no. I think he wasn't in my section, but even if he was, I'd be like, no. I'm sorry. No.
He was that horrible.
I mean, he definitely wasn't, like, he walked in already entitled. He didn't even walk up to the host. He, like, walked past the host as if they didn't exist and just sat down at, like, any table. Like, the host station is, like, you can't, like, it's right in front of the door. And there's, like, a person there. There's actually multiple teenagers there that, like, have menus
You're
and
all
stuff.
sitting there and you're like, are we invisible?
Well, yeah, they kind of looked at each other like, what the fuck just happened? And then a manager had to like walk up to him, and I don't know if like the manager like recognized him. I don't know. And then he was mad because we didn't have like menus, and we're like, well, yeah, no shit, that's what a fucking host is for. You dumb fuck. Anyways,
Wow.
yeah. I mean, it was whatever. That's typically though the type of people that would come to my Bob's. Is like sometimes like legit, that wasn't even the first time. People would like walk past the host station and just seat themselves because they felt like they could. And they'd be like, well, we can do this at like other restaurants. And it's like, okay, bitch, but are we another restaurant? That's the question. Rules don't apply to every... Oh, my... It was just like... It's just like
Okay,
you look at them and you're like... Common sense? Critical thinking skills. Do they exist? Are they in the room with us? Like, where are they? Hello, ma'am. You have a teenager waiting to, like, walk you to a table that they picked out specifically because it's timed based on, like, how many servers you have and, like, when was the last time they were sat.
There's a woman standing at the front being paid minimum wage to take you to your
Walk
table.
you to a table and you, like, trample over them and then pick a dirty table and complain. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, it's almost hilarious.
Oh my
Those type
God.
of people, like, it's almost hilarious how, like, not self-aware they are. How just, like, it's just, they're in their own world.
Oh, yeah. I'll never go back.
If you're
Happily.
working, if you're serving right now, like, bless your heart.
Yeah, you know what? All shouts out to servers. You're
Yeah.
appreciated. We see you. We understand. And it gets fucking better.
It does.
I promise.
It becomes funny stories eventually.
It really does. And again, it really does make you a better person. I think. Am I a better person?
I'm definitely, like, I'm a better person to, like, servers.
Yes. It makes you a better person to people who are in the field of it, I would say. It makes you understand. I'll leave you with this last story about Bob's, and then we'll have to wrap up this episode.
Okay.
When Bob's opened up at my location, we were selling. Bob's is always we were talking about the seafood. They're always trying to do something new. So our Bob's was, our Bob's, the interesting thing about our Bob's was they were trying to do a whole completely different thing. And they ended up throwing it all out the gate because people fucking hated it. We were Bob's 6-7. That's what they called it. And people were fucking livid. So pissed. The portion sizes were small. It was all very, very bad. But we were selling this new concept of ice. We wanted new ice. We wanted nice shaped ice. It was all very poetic. And there was an ice cutting machine in the back where the bartenders would work. And the bartender manager was wearing these gloves. And you wore the gloves for safety. And the glove got caught in the gear of the blade, and it literally pulled his hand, and he cut off his thumb.
No way.
Yeah.
Did he sue?
I can't remember if he sued or not. I don't remember. All I know is that he got a really good buyout, and he was on workers' comp for months. Like he was set up. But I do remember being next to him when it happened, and the noise, and then his thumb getting cut, and then I didn't see anything at the moment, and he had covered his hand, and keep in mind the glove. The weird thing is the glove got cut through, but it was more so just the pressure of the blade that kind of caused his thumb to kind of like clamp off. It was very strange, and he ran to the bathroom, and a trail of blood followed him because he was bleeding. And some people didn't know what it was. Some people thought it was like ketchup and stuff. And then I ran into the back with him and somebody else. And we realized that he did, in fact, cut his thumb off. And he started going into shock. And so we had to almost hide his hand from him.
Yeah.
And then we had to call the ambulance. And the ambulance came. And then they took him. And they were able to put it back on.
Thank God. I think they fell into the ice machine. So, like, good thing it was preserved.
It stayed in the glove.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, because the glove, again, he was still wearing the glove.
Did he know it was, like, detached? Or was he just, like, adrenaline kicked in and he's like, I think
initially he didn't think that it had been cut off. I think, like anything, when you give yourself a paper cut, when you cut yourself with a knife, you don't really know the damage. You just know something happened.
You just kind of cover it.
And you kind of just freak out for a second. And you're like, fuck, like, what? How bad is this?
Yeah.
I think that's what happened to him. And I'm sure it was painful. Mm-hmm. But again, maybe shock kicks in and you don't feel the pain. Like, I don't know. I've never had that happen to me. But I do know that he wasn't really, he was kind of more just like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And then he finally looked. And when he realized that
it was like wiggling around in there,
he was holding his hand and then the thumb went, wah! And he was like, holy fucking shit. And then he was trying to take the glove off to look. And we were like,
no,
don't. Because we knew that he was going to pass out. So, we just covered his hand with a towel.
Yeah.
And we just tried to keep pressure on his thumb. And then the ambulance came, and I think the paramedics took some of the ice that we cut and put it in a bucket with a bag so that they could preserve his thumb. But so I mean, the ice got used. But yeah, like I think he was away for like 7 months with workers' comp. They paid him full. I think Bob's was like paid him out a little bit.
Do you know how much they paid him out?
I have no idea.
Oh.
No idea. I wasn't super close to him.
Probably, knowing Bob's, probably not as much as they should have.
Yeah, probably. But yeah, I mean, crazy shit can happen.
And you know what's funny is there's probably somebody like banging on the door being like, can I get served, please? And you're like, bitch, he lost his fucking thumb.
I'm waiting for my fucking margarita.
Yeah. You have Caesars on special. Let me fucking in.
Yeah. This like, your Caesar is going to be placed on hold because there's some blood in your Caesar.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a very, very interesting experience. It was only a few weeks in on like my first few weeks of Bob's.
That's like, I hope he's like doing okay.
He's fine. Yeah, he's fine.
Good thing he was
Years
able
later,
to like,
he was fine.
Reattach his thumb.
Yeah, I think they had to do a bit of a skin graft, but most of it was just his original thumb.
Damn,
So-
good. That's like good to hear. I'm happy
Yeah.
that it wasn't like as. I mean, that still sucks.
Yeah.
And like, I feel like that'd be very traumatizing. I would never be able to return to work.
I don't think he ever did.
Like, not to that work.
I don't know. He never came back. But I think it was just because he finally was like, I should go back to school.
Oh,
Which fucking fair enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that I wanted to leave with you a very interesting story about Bob's.
I mean, welcome to Bob's.
Welcome to Bob's. You're all valued until you're not.
Until you're done.
Okay. I realized the last episode we didn't do this, and I should probably get in the habit of doing this. But for all our lovely followers, if you want to know more about us or know where to find us, you can find us at all social media platforms, Instagram and TikTok at or the dysfunctional duo. And there might be a last dash there. I can't remember. Or you can find us on the Dysfunctional Duo on YouTube. And yeah, I mean, we're also on Spotify. If you want to just hear our audios, I don't know where you're finding us, but please feel free to check us out at those places.
Yes.
I'm sure our wonderful editor will put something here at some point. He did it last time because he's just wonderful. Shout out to him too. He was also a Bob server.
Was he really?
That's where we met him.
Damn.
Yeah,
I mean, Bob's is a great place to like bring people together.
it's true. Actually, a lot of my friends are still from, like, I met them at Bob's. Not all of, but a handful of Leo's friends are still, like, he met them at Bob's. His best man was from Bob's.
That's true.
Yeah. Our photographer met him at Bob's. So I think there's a lot of, our photographer is also our friend. Not
Yeah.
like,
Bob's is a great place to like meet people and make friends.
mingle. Yeah. So I would say
Trauma bonding.
it really is trauma bonding. So shout out to our editor who also went to Bob's for a period of time and understands just the glory of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's this week's episode. Thank you for hanging out with us.
Thanks for coming.
Do you have
watching.
Do you have a final question for me this episode?
If you
Because I asked you a pretty good one last time.
you did. I don't really have a good one. I'm so sorry.
Find it.
Okay. If you could only have one food for the rest of your life, like a dish, what would it be?
Anything potato.
What? No, you have to pick a specific potato dish.
Mashed potatoes.
Really?
Yeah.
I wouldn't
With gravy.
with good garlicky mashed potatoes,
Sure.
cheesy mashed potatoes.
No.
Oh, okay.
Basic ass potatoes. Maybe garlic. I'm cool, but with gravy.
With gravy,
Yeah.
slay.
Yeah.
I love that for you.
Thank you. You?
Something I would only eat for the rest of my life. Honestly, probably poutine.
Are you lactose intolerant?
I don't know. I don't care. It wouldn't stop me.
The same poutine every single day?
Yeah. I mean, the same mashed potatoes every single day.
Hey man, they're no different any other way you make them.
I would.
Poutines are different depending on the type that you have.
Well, then I don't know. Am I?
And I'm
allowed
not
to have-
talking about different flavors. I'm talking about Costco's poutine's different than Big Cheese's poutine, and A&W's poutine is different than McDonald's poutine.
McDonald's poutine's not very good.
I don't know if I've ever had McDonald's poutine.
I had it once and I was like, no.
I don't know. Okay, what's your favorite poutine? Where?
Okay, I like for like fast food, I really like A&W's, but I think that's only because they're in a Canadian like fast food chain.
Yeah.
So they get it.
A&W's Canadian fast food chain?
Yeah, dude.
That's why it's so wholesome.
Yeah. That's why it's like probably
Aw.
it's definitely more expensive, but it's in my opinion,
Well,
that's kind of ignorant. It's better
their food is
ingredients.
healthier, I would say. From maybe it's just mass marketing, and I'm a person who's fallen for it. But I feel like their quality is a little better,
Yeah.
and they're a little bit more environmentally friendly.
They are a lot more environmentally friendly.
So yeah, I mean, I would say, but like, if you could get a poutine from anywhere, where's your first stop?
Costco.
Hell yes, hell fucking yeah.
Yeah.
Costco just knows how to do it.
And
to
they're
'em.
fucking huge. It could feed you for like a week.
Yeah, and the gravy is delicious.
It's like thick.
Oh, so good.
It really is. It's if
Yeah.
you ever get the chance to have a Costco poutine, please
In
do.
Canada. In Canada.
Don't
Don't do it in the States. I don't know why they're... I don't even know if they sell poutines in the States.
No,
They don't?
I don't
Okay.
think so.
Yeah. The banger. Absolute banger. What if they're not selling poutines in the States, then what the hell are they selling instead?
Hot dogs.
We sell hot dogs here.
I don't know.
They don't have an equivalent?
lard. Probably like
Jesus.
it would be like cheese fries or like chili cheese fries or something.
Okay, yeah, chili cheese fries. I was like, cheese fries? I don't know.
But I think it'd be chili cheese fries, something like that. It'd be like 4
Poutine's better.
pounds of like ground beef with like melted nacho cheese, topped with like
I hate that.
onions or something.
That's the one thing I would never eat for the rest of my life. I never crave that shit. Is like fucking queso cheese sauce. Blech.
I don't mind it in some cases.
And I'm talking about like movie theater, Costco style. Like I'm talking about that specific case. Like disgusting.
The plastic one.
Oh, it's like Cheese Whiz. It's disgusting.
Cheese Whiz is also nasty.
My mom tried to force me to like Cheese Whiz for many, many years, and I held my ground.
Good. I'm glad you did.
Stand by it. I hate Cheese Whiz.
Cheese in a can is also just like
I've never
I've never had it, but like the idea of cheese like being like disposited like fucking whipped cream, like you eat that, like you eat that.
No.
I've only ever seen it in like American. I don't even think we sell it in Canada. I've only ever seen it in American movies.
Would you eat it like you would eat whipped cream? Because nobody ever eats whipped cream outside of the can.
It's like
You
a
just do
pepperoni stick, and then you like squirt it on the pepperoni stick, and then you eat the pepperoni stick.
That's disgusting.
Oh, it's not okay. Aerosol cheese, aerosol liquid cheese.
Oh,
Please stop.
disgusting.
Please stop. Make your own
No.
cheese. Buy a cow, harvest its milk, make your own cheese.
Okay, well, maybe don't do that, but maybe just settle for just regular cheese.
Yeah, just a block of cheese is fine. It's fine.
Or make your own. Here's the thing. I'm cool with like cheese sauce, but then make your own.
I agree. It's
Homemade.
not that hard.
Super
Homemade
easy.
stuff.
Crock pot, baby. Crock pot.
Yeah. Especially if you're like a busy person, you work and have kids. Like
Even if you're not a busy person, why would you put in work to make more crock pot?
Just crock pot.
Crock pot it up.
Crock pot and air fryer. I feel like are the
This is true.
two things that
People are telling me to get on board with the Insta pot. It scares the shit out of me. It's like a pressurized crock pot.
oh.
Yeah. It's like
Oh.
it like speed cooks your stuff, but it's pressurized, so you have to release the pressure.
Oh, those are fine. My dad uses the
Scare
pressure
me.
cookers.
They scare me. I'm scared they're going to.
I don't even know what that happened.
Are you okay? Did
Yeah.
your inner demon just want to speak?
Yeah,
for a
I had
second.
something to say about pressure.
I'm always scared they're gonna explode on me.
I mean, yeah, that's fair. I don't like.
That's how
the
I would go.
Aggressive steam that comes out of it.
I could just imagine the shards
The shards.
breaking and cutting me. That's not how I want
And
to
you
go.
don't get workers' comp because it's at home.
And I wouldn't die, so I'd have to just live with like
Torture and torment.
for the rest of my life. This is dark. We have to end this now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Y'all have a wonderful week. We'll see you next week for a new episode.
Bye.
Bye.